Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Grab a couple of yoga blocks. You may also like to use a strap. And make sure that you have a blanket today or a beach towel that you can fold up. Let's find a comfortable seat. And we're going to review one of the practices of the first of the 8 limbs of yoga, which are called the yamas. If you might remember, the yamas are practices in how we relate to the world around us to promote harmony. And one of the practices that I'd like to highlight is called Satya. Do you remember what that means? It is Sanskrit for truthfulness. And here's a little bit about Satya from the book, The Yoga Almanac. Satya is the yama that asks us to examine the way we speak, to consider whether our actions, words, and deeds are within our individual integrity. Satya asks us to reconcile our internal personal truth with the way we express ourselves externally. Embodying Satya on the mats is to allow practice to be exactly what it is in the moment, to surrender gracefully to the here and now. How does the pose feel? What are you experiencing? Your Satya in your practice is to not push past your edge, but to honor your process. What are your personal boundaries? How do you show up for your body and yourself in an effort to explore them? So some food for thought, and see how you might integrate Satya, this practice of truthfulness, in your yoga practice today and off the mat. Let's begin by resting a hand in the heart center and the other hand on the lower belly. Root down through your left and right sitting bones. Invite a lift up through the center of your spine. The shoulders soften back and down, and maybe close your eyes as you begin to bring more attention to the sensations you're experiencing in your body right now. As well as the sensations of your natural breath, just as it is. And so diluing, gather how you feel energetically in this moment. How you feel mentally and emotionally. As you listen to your personal truth, how might you honor it through your practice of yoga today? Start to clarify your intention or sankalpa. Begin to deepen your breath in through the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. Feel free to sigh it out. Then call to mind someone or a cause or community that you might choose to dedicate your practice to today, making an offering of your efforts. And together in community, let's join our voices, chanting 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. I'd like to begin today's practice on this very warm summer day with a cooling but also releasing lion's breath, Simasana Pranayama, 3 rounds. So sit in a way that you can be upright and place your hands on your lap or on your knees if they're available here. And we'll start by breathing in deeply through the nose And as you exhale, opening the mouth, lift the chin slightly and stick out the tongue and make any sound that's releasing for you. So let's try that 3 rounds. Ready? Inhale deeply. Open the eyes and mouth wide. Again, inhale deeply. And let it go. Open up the throat as well. Inhale. So truthfulness is connected to the energy of the throat energy center, or Vishuddha chakra, which will also help to activate and bring balance to in our practice today, like we've started with lion's breath. So let's come down to hands and knees, all fours. And when we take some cat-cow, really feel that opening at your throat when you look up into cow pose. Set your hands on the ground any way that you choose, either index fingers facing forward or spin out the hands to stretch your inner wrists. Maybe you spin the fingertips to face your knees. And with your shoulders over your wrists, step your knees back a couple inches behind your hips. Then begin. Inhale, glide your chest forward and up, peeling the shoulders down as you look up. Feel the opening at your throat. As you exhale, lift the navel, drop your head, and feel the stretch in the back of your neck as well. Again, inhale, glide your chest forward and up into cow pose. Exhale, contract your abdomen, doming your back into cat pose. And continue at least 3 more cycles at your own pace of breath. Vidalasana. Feel into the sensations, particularly around your neck, the area of Vishuddha or throat chakra. How is energy flowing through your words and expressing yourself honestly, embodying your truth? Then when you're ready, let's step into plank pose. Make sure your index fingers are facing forward and your shoulders are right over your wrists. For plank, if you keep your knees on the floor, step them forward so they're directly under your hips, shoulders right above wrists. If you choose to straighten your legs, firm your inner heels back and activate the muscles in your legs like your quadriceps. Either way, lift the belly, but stretch the tailbone down in line with your heels and gaze at the ground ahead of your thumbs. We're gonna be here for 3 more breaths. Spiral your triceps, your outer upper arms slightly to face the back wall to spread the shoulder blades apart and lift the space between them. On an exhalation, very slowly glide forward. Bend your elbows to lower halfway down, hug the elbows to your ribs, Chaturanga Dandasana. Then slowly lower all the way down. Rest your forehead on the floor and slide your knees close together so they're no wider apart than hips distance. Press the tops of your feet firmly into the ground. We're going to take a version of bound locust, keeping your toes rooted to the floor. So don't lift your feet. Interlace your fingers behind your lower back, or if it's easier to do, grab a strap and hold that between your hands. We're gonna lift the chest and stay lifted for 3 to 5 breaths. So when you're ready, press down to your feet, lengthen your legs and tailbone towards the rear of your mat, and coil your chest off the floor, sliding the shoulder blades down your back ribs, and actively stretching the knuckles of your hands back towards your feet. Gazing at the ground just ahead of you, make sure that you're not cranking the neck up. You're finding a natural length, especially in the back of the neck. Let's give it 2 more deep breaths. Broaden your chest and extend your heart center forward. Ground to your feet, even the pinky toes, and lengthen your tailbone back. Keep this activity in your pelvis and legs. Then place your hands flat on the floor alongside your floating ribs, heels of the palms by the lowest ribs. Bend your elbows close to your rib cage and inhale into Bhujangasana or Cobra pose for another 3 breaths. Peeling the fronts of your shoulder bones back, press the tops of your shoulders down, and keep drawing your sternum forward, tailbone and legs back. Keep firming down through all of your toenails. This helps to create safety and support in the lower spine when we're taking these back bends. With an exhale, tuck your toes, press up to your plank pose. Lift your hips high and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Let's take about 5 breaths here if you want to be still or pedal out your feet, any kind of movement you might need. As you listen to your breath, cultivate a soft whispering sound that balances long inhales with long exhales. Practicing Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing. Open up across the shoulder blades here as well by rotating your triceps towards the floor. Soften the back of your neck. And let's finish one more full cycle of breath before you walk or lightly jump to the front of your mats. Standing in a forward fold, press your fingertips either on blocks in front of you or the ground, and inhale, lengthen your chest through your upper arms, entering a flat back, firming in the belly. Exhale, hinge from your hips, dropping your head, Uttanasana. Press down to your feet, inhale, circle your arms apart, rising slowly to stand with arms overhead, palms together, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, trace your thumbs down from your throat to your heart, Hadasana. Recall your intention for your practice and let it affect the way that you're breathing and holding yourself up and moving to your breath. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep the arms apart, join the palms and look up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your fingertips and inhale, lengthen your chest through your upper arms, Ardha Uttanasana. Carefully step into your plank pose, and as you exhale, glide forward. Bend your elbows close to your ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Then either cobra or upward facing dog, breathe in and ground the tops of your feet. Exhale, lift your hips back into downward facing dog. This time be still for 3 deep breaths, setting your gaze or drishti on one spot. After your third exhale, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat, forward fold. Then inhale, press with your fingertips, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in, Uttanasana. Press with your feet, inhale, sweep the arms rising up, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, hands to your heart, Padasana. 2 more, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank and lower slowly or float lightly into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause for 3 breaths, steady your gaze. After your third exhale, walk or lightly jump forward. There, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Root down to rise as you inhale. Exhale to your heart. One more time. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step back or float to Chaturanga. Keep going to your vinyasa, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Exhale, we'll meet in down dog. 3 breaths. When you finish the third exhale, walk or lightly jump forward. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to your heart. Last one. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Walk or float to lower to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. 3 breaths here. Now let's stay here in downward facing dog. Keeping your 2 hips even in height. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, slowly contract the belly and round forward, bending the right knee towards your nose. Lift the belly high to dome your spine. Step the foot lightly beside your right thumb and lower your back knee. Making sure your legs are hips width apart and your front knees right over the heel. Energetically scissor the legs without them visibly moving. Keep your arms overhead and backstroke your arms, placing your hands with your fingertips face down on your lower back. Now continue to isometrically drag your legs towards each other, drawing your right outer hip back and rotating your left outer hip forward. And with the help of your hands, lengthen your tailbone downward and slightly forward as you lift your back ribs up, inviting space in your lower spine. Also lift your frontal hip bones and begin to roll the fronts of your shoulders further behind you, pressing the tops of your shoulders down and maybe starting to gaze up in this back bend. Give it another 3 breaths. Hugging your elbows closer together, feel your collarbones broaden, your chest widen. 1 more deep breath. Now lower your fingertips and spin your left heel down. Bend the front knee just over the heel and rise up, entering Warrior 1. Virabhadrasana 1. As you bend the front knee right on top of the heel, scissor your right outer hip back and firm your left outer heel into the ground as you fully straighten the leg, spiraling your inner left thigh towards the rear wall. Then again, lift your frontal hip bones and your back ribs, relaxing the shoulders for 2 more breaths. Maybe the palms meet. Slide your right foot a few inches to the left and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, preparing for a variation of Warrior 2. Rolling your right outer hip under your body, open the right knee towards the pinky toe and bend the knee right on top of the heel. Firm the top of your left thigh bone back and stack your shoulders right above your hips. Now here in this variation, interlace your fingers behind you and wrap your arms over to the right hip. Hug your elbows close together and let's open up that left collarbone from the sternum. Hug your front ribs in towards your back, keeping a long spine, and then gaze over your right shoulder towards the front wall. Tune into your breath. Virabhadrasana 2 variation. One more deep breath. Release your arms apart and straighten your right leg for triangle. You might like to shorten your stance a couple inches. Glide your hips sideways towards your back wall as you reach your right hand forward towards the front wall, placing it on the right side of your right shin, maybe on a block. Keep rolling the right hip under as you spin your chest slightly towards the sky. Raise your left arm straight up and notice if perhaps that inner left shoulder can open up a little bit more, turning your heart towards the sky. After that variation of Warrior 2. Lengthen the top of your head towards the front wall and slide your shoulders down your back. Find spaciousness in your neck, especially the throat, and steady your eyes on one spot. 3 more breaths. Trikonasana. Now gaze down ahead of your right foot. Let's prepare for a variation of Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Bend your right knee and crawl the right hand forward about 6 inches ahead into the right outer corner of your foot. Drag your left foot in and flex it off the ground, turning your chest to the left to stack your shoulders naturally above your right wrist. Now notice how your balance is here in this pose today. Honor the truth that's you're experiencing in your body. You might, if your balance feels pretty stable, follow me into Chapasana, Ardha Chandra Chapasana, bending the left knee towards your belly, catching hold of the top of your left foot, and kicking that left knee towards the back wall as you roll open your left shoulder. More of that opening of the left collarbone from the sternum. Now either way, tack your right hip crease back towards the back wall. How's your breathing? As you steady your gaze, let's take another 3 breaths in your variation of half moon pose. If your left knee is bent in Chapasana, slowly straighten the leg. Bend your right knee and slowly step the left foot back to Warrior Two. Inhale in Warrior Two, and exhale your hands to the floor, optional vinyasa here. Notice what you need right now to regain a sense of inner balance. Flow or no flow, let's meet in downward facing dog. Allow a few breaths, just observe. What are you feeling in your body? What are you feeling in your energy? And how might you honor that? Keeping your 2 hips leveled, inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Slowly round forward as you exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose, lift the belly high, stack the shoulders over the wrists, and step the left foot beside your left thumb, lower your back knee, and separate your legs hips distance. With your left knee right on top of the heel, energetically drag your legs towards each other, lifting your arms overhead. Backstroke them and place your hands, fingertips face down on your lower back. Draw your tailbone down and forward. Keep scissoring your left hip back and lift your frontal hip bones. Hug your elbows close together and roll the shoulders back and down, tilting your heart and maybe your gaze up. About 4 more breaths here. So opening up the fronts of your shoulders, shoulders in extension, and opening up your right hip flexor, top of the right thigh. Both important ingredients as we move through further back bends today. 1 more breath. Now place your fingertips on the ground and spin your right heel flat, keeping your hips facing forward. Inhale, rise up to Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Bending your left knee right on top of the heel, scissor your left outer hip back. Straightening your right leg, press your outer right heel into the earth and spin your inner right thigh towards your rear wall, bringing the right outer hip forward. Draw the tailbone down and lift the frontal hip bones and back ribs. Relax the shoulders down, maybe bring the palms together. Let's listen to 3 more breaths. Warrior 1. Then slide your left foot a few inches to the right and align your left heel to the arch of your right foot, turning your chest fully to face the right wall. Wrap your left outer hip under, pointing the left knee out towards the pinky toe as you bend it over the heel. And firm the top of your right thigh bone back, slightly turning the right leg inward. Take your hands behind you and switch the interlacing of your thumb and index fingers on top. Wrap your arms to the outside of your left hip, hugging your elbows close together. Let's encourage that left collarbone to splay a little wider from the sternum. Keep your shoulders right above your hips and steady your eyes just towards your left, towards your front wall. And let's feel about 4 more breaths here. Virabhadrasana 2. Continue to hug in your bottom front ribs. Long spine in the front and in the back. Release your arms open and straighten your front leg for triangle. You might shorten your stance a couple inches. Slide your hips sideways towards your rear wall while reaching the left hand towards the front wall. Then place that hand on the left side of your left shin. As you raise the right arm straight up, stack your shoulders and wrists. Now feel the effect of that bound version of Warrior Two on your inner right shoulder. Spin the middle of your chest slightly towards the ceiling. Glide your shoulder blades down your back ribs as you lengthen back of your skull towards the front wall. And then steady your eyes on one spot. Let's take about 4 more breaths in Trikonasana. Ardha Chandrasana, gaze at the ground ahead of your left foot. Crawl your left hand 6 inches forward and out to the left corner. Drag the right foot in and flex it. Turn your chest to face the right wall. Again, stack your shoulders over your left wrist. Notice on this side, which might be different from the first, how stable you feel in your balance. Keeping the breath flowing. If you did so on the first side, let's move into Chapasana. Bending your right knee towards your belly. Catch the top of your right foot with your right hand. Kick the right knee towards the back wall, pulling the foot towards your glute, and roll the front of your right shoulder open. Continue to lengthen your neck and draw the left hip crease towards the back wall. Let's listen into about 4 more breaths. If your right knee is bent, slowly straighten the leg, then bend your left knee and softly land the right foot back to Warrior Two. Inhale, Warrior Two. Optional vinyasa as you lower. We'll meet in downward facing dog for a few breaths. Letting your body be still. Again, scan the sensations. What's calling your attention? And how are you being present and honoring your body's boundaries today? While exerting effort with integrity, with truthfulness, with Satya. Now listen to the end of this next breath. Afterward, walk or float to the top of your mat. Bring your feet together so they touch. Then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen forward. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Sweep your arms apart. Inhale, rise up. Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, join your hands at your heart. Let's flow through one continuous round of Surya Namaskar B. We've already broken down Warrior One, so let's feel that within the flow. Here we go. Inhale, bend your knees together. Sit low in chair or Utkatasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Walk or float into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, lifting your heart. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, raise the right leg. Keep squaring your hips towards the floor. Exhale, round forward and step the foot lightly beside your right thumb, dropping the back heel. One inhale to rise in warrior one. Exhale all the way down. Take it through your vinyasa. From downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale your foot forward, rounding. Step the foot beside the left thumb and drop the back heel. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Three breaths, holding still in downward dog, recalibrating your breathing. Bring your intention back to heart and mind. And after your third exhale, walk or float forward. Let your feet meet to touch, then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Knees together too, inhale, Utkatasana, chair. And this time extend your arms forward with the palms face up and slowly begin to lower your pelvis to the ground. Lift your feet, optional to catch the backs of your thighs for support or to keep the arms forward and maybe straighten the legs. Navasana, boat pose. As we stay a few breaths, draw your navel towards your spine and lift it up towards the heart. Soften the shoulders down as you open your throat and lengthen the back of your neck. Relax the eyes and tune in to the qualities of your breath that you're using to regulate your mind-body. Let's give it another 3 slow breaths. Now as you exhale, lower halfway down into Ardha Navasana, half boat. Continue to draw the navel in and up. Relax the face. Last 3 breaths. Then gently lower all the way to the ground. Take a block and use the skinny width as you step your feet on the ground, bending the knees to hug the block in between your knees and thighs. Bring your arms close to your ribs down by your sides and slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Make sure that your feet are apart as wide as your knees are apart and parallel your feet, spread your toes. Press the backs of your shoulders into the ground and tilt your chin slightly away from your chest. Feel that your throat is open. We're gonna try 3 rounds of dynamic bridge pose, which means we'll lift the pelvis up on an inhale and we'll also raise the arms overhead at the same time. And as you exhale, we'll lower the spine and hips and arms down by your sides. So 3 cycles of breath, 3 rounds of that. And then on the 4th, we'll stay lifted in traditional Setu Bandha Sarvangasana for 5 to 10 breaths. So get ready. Press down through the insteps of your feet and your outer feet equally. Inhale, slowly point your tailbone up and stretch it towards the block, lifting your hips, lifting your back and arms. As you raise the arms overhead at the peak of your bridge pose, keep the throat open. Exhale as you lower the spine gently. Simultaneously lower the arms by your sides. Take it on your own for 2 more slow cycles of breath. Rooting your feet and shoulders. Hugging the block, stretch the fronts of your thighs forward. Spin your inner thighs slightly towards the ground. Activate your hamstrings at the backs of your thighs. Feel each vertebra kiss the ground as you lower. Last round of moving bridge. Now, when you finish and lower from bridge, that last moving bridge, stay for 3 breaths. Set up again if you need to rearrange, that your heels are almost reachable by your fingertips. Walk in the arms closer. This time we'll keep them on the ground. And then when you're ready, lift and hold for 5 to 10 breaths. Feel the opening at your throat and invite the opening in your chest. Walk the upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight, not bending the elbows apart. Then maybe interlace the fingers. As you stretch the front of your thighs forward, keep your feet still, but isometrically drag them back towards your glutes. 5 to 10 breaths. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. When you're ready to come down, use an exhalation and very slowly articulate each vertebra, releasing to the ground. And once your pelvis meets the floor, put the block aside and separate your feet a little wider apart in hips distance. Keep your knees bent and feet on the floor, and drop your knees together so they touch. Place a hand on your heart center, a hand at your lower belly, and maybe close your eyes for 3 natural breaths. Just tune in. Then please come on up to sit. We're going to prepare for camel pose by lengthening the fronts of the thighs just a little bit more in Supta Virasana, supine hero's pose. So set up with your knees on the floor in front of you, sitting on your calves directly, toes pointed back, or if the knees need some support, sitting on a block or two right between your ankles. Now, if you're sitting directly on your calves, you might go a step further and use your hands to manually but gently roll the calves aside so that you can sit directly on the ground right between your ankles. Feel that your pinky toenails are touching the floor. This helps to ensure safe alignment in the knees. And then really tune into your body and notice how far back it's appropriate for you to start leaning. I'm going to be here for a couple of minutes, so take your time exploring. Now, as we did in Anjaneyasana, the kneeling lunge, draw your tailbone down and forward. Lift your back ribs, encourage length in your lower spine, and slightly lift your frontal hip bones towards your lowest front ribs. Try to keep your knees grounded. If they start to lift high away from the floor, then maybe lift the torso up a little to make sure the knees stay on the ground. You might lean back into blocks or pillows or completely on the floor, but stay aware of your lower back. You don't want it to overarch. Seal the bottom of your front ribs inward towards the back of your body. If you're lying all the way back, you might raise the arms overhead and hold on to opposite elbows, softening the shoulders down. Notice how you're regulating your breathing and how that affects your bodily experience. And if you've been holding opposite elbows, maybe switch the elbow on top for a few more breaths. Now, taking your time, give yourself a few breaths, especially if you're lying all the way back, to plant your hands alongside you and slowly lift your head, your torso. Come all the way up and take a moment in downward facing dog to help open up the backs of your knees. A few breaths. Draw your hips up and back. Sink your heels towards the ground. All right, let's set up for Ustrasana, 2 rounds. So tuck your toes behind you as you stand on your knees. And at least for the first round, I invite you to use that block again. Skinny width, hugging it right between your knees and thighs to offer lower back support. Like in Anjaneyasana, backstroke your arms and place your hands on your lower back, fingertips face down. With the help of your palms, draw your tailbone downward towards the space right between your knees, as well as lift the back ribs, lengthening the lower spine. Also, slightly lift your frontal hip bones, seal in the bottom front ribs. Now, be mindful to keep your pelvis right above your knees, even when you start to tilt the chest up. So use your hands to press the hips forward. Then begin to hug your elbows closer together and notice how that begins to broaden the chest. Inhale, lift up the chest and roll the fronts of your shoulders back. Press the shoulder blades down, and as you open your throat, lengthen the back of your neck. Looking up, you might backstroke one arm to land the hand and hold your heel, and then switch arms or hold both heels. Remember to keep the hips right above the knees. Take another 3 to 5 breaths where you are. Full breaths. Feel the space in your throat and your chest especially. When you decide that you're ready to come out of camel pose, replace your hands on your lower back. Engage your abdomen and slowly lift your spine upright. And you might take that block and use it as a stool to sit on between your ankles. Sitting in hero's pose, you might rest your hands to the heart. What feels alive in you right now? Recall your intention for this practice, as well as to whom or what you're dedicating this practice to. As you cultivate the strength of those within the heart, let them emanate from you. One more, camel pose. With or without a block, toes tucked, for the heels can be higher, or tops of the feet down so the heels are further away. Hands in the lower back to start. Hug the elbows close, draw the tailbone down, lift your back ribs and your heart, and you're in it. Take your time for 5 to 10 breaths. This is the last one. Your variation of Ustrasana. And when you're ready, we'll meet sitting in Virasana once again. Feel into what's here now. And with long, even breaths, continuing with Ujjayi. Please slide your legs out in front of you and let's help neutralize the spine in a seated twist. Extend your left leg forward and step your right foot on the ground, either directly in front of your right hip or cross to the outside of your left knee. You might also bend the left knee. Place your right hand on the ground just behind your pelvis and root down through your pelvis, lifting the right arm and spine up as you breathe in. Keep the shoulders relaxed and turn your chest to the right as you breathe out. Lower your left arm to hold the shin, or eventually hook the elbow outside of your thigh. Continuing to twist for about 5 more deep breaths. As you inhale, press into the surface below and lift up through the center of your spine. As you exhale, soften your belly and continue to rotate your chest. Finishing this exhale, unwind your spine and let's set up for Janu Shirshasana, extending the left leg forward straight and flexing the foot. Take your right foot and hug it high up on the inside of the left thigh. Either use a strap around the ball of your foot that you hold with two hands, or plant your fingertips to frame your left leg. Sit up tall, breathe in. Keep your throat open and extend your sternum towards your left pinky toe. About 5 deep breaths. Now, if reachable and you're walking the hands down, you could hold on to your right wrist with your left hand. Press down to your hips, firming in the belly. Lift from your chest. Inhale, slowly rise up. All right, second side, extend the right leg forward. Let's start with a twist. Set up as you can, if you can, the same way. Left foot in front of the hip or outside the right knee. Maybe bend the right knee. Left hand behind your pelvis. Sit up tall, raise the right arm. Breathe in. Exhale, twist to your left and lower the right arm. Or cross the elbow outside the thigh. 5 breaths. Finishing this next exhalation, unwind your spine and straighten your right leg forward, flexing the foot. Turn open your left thigh and hug the foot high against your inner right thigh. Use a strap or crawl the hands forward. Breathe in, sit up tall. Exhale, extend your sternum towards your right pinky toe. If reachable, wrap your left arm around the sole of your foot and use your right hand to hold the wrist. Root down to your hips, lead with your chest. Inhale to slowly rise up. Let's straighten both legs forward for Paschimottanasana. Separating your feet hips distance, root your sitting bones, and press the insteps of your feet forward as you flex them. Use a strap around both feet or raise your arms. Either way, sit up tall as you inhale. Keep your heart and throat open and extend your heart forward as you exhale, breath by breath, hugging in the front ribs. Now, if you're walking your hands down your legs and able to clasp your big toes, flare your elbows apart and slide the shoulder blades down your back. Either way, tilt your heart slightly up as you bow further. About 5 more breaths. Press down to your pelvis. Lift slowly from your chest. Inhale, rise up. All right, so we have a few more postures to go to wind down. And before we go into that very cooling part of the practice that we've already started, let's practice a cooling breathing technique to help ground and help us to go further inward. Nodi Shodhana Pranayama, alternate nostril breathing. So sit in a way that you can feel grounded and upright as well as relaxed. Rest your left hand on your lap. Maybe bring the thumb and first finger to touch to help concentrate. Close your eyes if that helps to focus, and then steady your gaze at your brow center, Ajna chakra. And with your right hand, stick out the thumb, pinky, and ring finger. We'll be just breathing through the nose slowly and holding the breath for counts of 3. We'll use the right nostril to close off, the right thumb to close off the right nostril. And we'll use the right ring and pinky to close off the left nostril, alternating nostrils as we breathe. All right, so let's begin by emptying this breath. Hold it out. Right nostril, close it off with the thumb. Inhale through the left for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Close left nostril, exhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath, 3, 2, 1. Stay here. Inhale right, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath, 3, 2, 1. Close right, exhale left, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Second round. Inhale left, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Close left. Exhale right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Inhale right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Close right. Exhale left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 3, 2, 1. Third round. Inhale left for 6. Hold 3. Close left. Exhale right. 6. Hold 3. Inhale right. 6. Hold 3. Cover right. Exhale left. 6. Hold 3. Last round on your own. When you finish holding the breath out from the left nostril, exhale, release both hands and sit observing how you feel breathing naturally for a moment. Then I invite you to choose either supported shoulder stand, a block under the sacrum as you lie on your back and lift the legs straight up, or follow me into traditional shoulder stand if you are free of any neck issues. Salamba Sarvangasana. For that, I invite you to take your folded beach towel or firm blanket, fold it so that it's about an inch and a half thick, really smooth, and then place the smooth edge of the fold to face the rear edge of your blanket, about 1.5 feet inward from the rear edge of your mat, not blanket. And then from here, we'll lie down so that the tops of your shoulder bones land about an inch inward from that folded edge of the blanket, so that it keeps your shoulders on the blanket, but the back of your head is on the ground. This is to encourage the natural curvature of your neck. You don't want to have your back of the neck flat on the floor in shoulder stand. Then step your feet on the floor and place your elbows very close to your side ribs. Plug them into the ground. Ground the backs of the shoulders. Now, without swinging the legs, you want to do this slowly. Use your hands at your glutes or on your lower back to slowly lift the pelvis. Actively reach the inner heels up towards the sky until you can create a vertical line that stacks your ankles over your hips, over your shoulders. You might need to walk the elbows in a little closer. Now keep the throat open by tilting your chin slightly back. Feel that the back of your neck is not touching the floor. You're maintaining the curvature. And how is your breathing? Salamba Sarvangasana, or traditional shoulder stand, is considered, as I've mentioned before, the queen of asanas, in that it activates the relaxation or parasympathetic response of the nervous system. It can be deeply restorative, stimulating blood flow, digestion. It's just helping to reboot by bringing our bodies upside down. From here, you might start to raise the legs overhead where the toes might touch the floor behind you in plow pose or halasana. Here, you can walk the elbows in a little closer as they press the ground, or you can straighten the arms and clasp the hands on the floor. Keep opening your throat as you breathe. Some said benefits of plow pose is restoring balance to the thyroid and parathyroid, so hormonal balance. Now, as you start to come down, place your hands on your lower back, and from plow, you might choose to bend the knees so you're rounding like a ball, and then very slowly lower your upper back, middle back, pelvis last onto the floor. Now, if you were in supported shoulder stand, step your feet down, remove the block, turn over to one side and just rest your head for a few breaths. And then gently rise up so you can remove the blanket that's underneath you. Let's lie down flat on our backs for one more posture before Shavasana. And this is definitely a Vishuddha chakra, Satya, promoting posture, and it is Mayurasana or fish pose. So straighten the legs forward, bring the feet close together but relaxed. Slip your palms face down underneath your glutes with thumbs touching each other. Press your palms, elbows, and forearms into the floor and begin to lift your chest and tilt your chin as far back as you comfortably can. Some of you might bring the crown of your head to the floor. So notice how this is really opening the throat. Take about 5 more deep breaths, maybe some long exhales through the mouth. You might return to lion's breath, Simasana pranayama, voicing any sound. Again, another way to help open the throat chakra. Ha. Ha. Ah. Ah. And then when you're finished, sometimes you might get some kisses from the dogs. Come to lie down flat, draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself thank you embrace for following through with your practice today. Take a deep in-breath, and as you exhale, splay your limbs onto the earth. Close your eyes, and now let go of controlling your breath. Let's rest in stillness for a few minutes. Shavasana. As you lie still a little bit longer, bring your attention to your physical state again, noticing the effects of your yoga. Sense the way your body is naturally breathing and feel into your energetic state. Noticing your mind state, your emotional, and then slowly begin to turn your head gently. Feel into your neck, the area of your throat. Begin to stretch your hands and feet, your arms and legs. And perhaps with your eyes still closed, roll gently to your right side and rest your head on your arm. Be still for a few breaths. Notice what's here now. Very gently press your hands into the earth and rise up into a comfortable seat in which you can sit to meditate for the last 5 minutes. You might like to sit up on a prop or not and feel the surface below your pelvis and root into that. Invite a lift, spaciousness in your spine, heart, and throat. And then relax your body into stillness. Set your hands in the way that you can cultivate focus. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze at eye level. And let's begin our 5-minute meditation. Cultivating open awareness, a mindfulness practice. You might begin by sensing your body breathing naturally and return to the sensations of your breath. Anytime you need to come back to the present moment, if your attention has wandered. As you practice open awareness, notice what comes up through external stimuli like sounds and movements, or through internal, like sensations shifting, thoughts arising and changing, or emotions and feelings appearing. Let them be as they are without chasing after them. If it helps, you might succinctly label what comes up, like hunger, or throbbing, or barking. And then return to the sensations of the breath each time. Part of cultivating open awareness is letting go of judging what you notice, judging it as good or bad or right or wrong. You're simply noticing and being present. As we near the end of this practice, I invite you to reflect on what came up for you in your practice. And notice how you feel now towards the end of it. Let's join the palms to meet at the heart. Recall your intention that you set for yourself. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Recall your dedication to someone or something, the offering that you might have made. Sending your love from afar. And let's join our voices one more time to close with 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Bowing towards your heart center, bowing in towards the light within. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.